All right. Good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock. My name is Fiso Mbuto, and today I'll be taking you through some of the highlights from our MercadoLibre investment idea report. Now, the report was a little bit longer than our usual company update reports, but I'll be spending a lot more time on focusing on the drivers and some of the main things that have influenced our recommendation, as well as our assumptions on the valuation. Now, on the summary side of things, MercadoLibre boasts a compelling earnings growth outlook propelled by multiple drivers in fintech and e-commerce. Now, it's important to look at MercadoLibre as less of two business segments of fintech and e-commerce and more of an integrated system, because that's exactly what it is. And I'll show you a slide on that just now. We have an intrinsic value of about $2,208 per share, with an upside of about 19% when the report came out. As of this morning, that upside is closer to about 20%, so not much of a price movement change over the last week, and we recommend a buy. Now, our recommendation is based on a few things, with one of them being Latin America's underpenetrated e-commerce market. Now, when we look at Latin America's e-commerce penetration relative to the rest of the world, and particularly its next door neighbor, the North Americans, it's got low penetration levels. Now, what this does, though, is it gives us a long and good amount of runway for growth, because Latin America's e-commerce is only at its infancy stage relative to something like the North America or the USA, which is a little bit more of a mature market when it comes to e-commerce, and then the differential between the penetration is quite large, and that's why we think that this under penetration is going to be one of the main drivers for growth in MercadoLibre. Now, the other important thing here is this line refers specifically to e-commerce, but because of the integration of fintech into the whole ecosystem, any kind of improvement in your e-commerce within the marketplace for MercadoLibre will have an impact on the growth of the fintech side of the particular business. Second point is your AI. So we've seen a lot of people throw the word AI around, but here it's specifically related to your personalized search results. Now, the rollout currently is specifically in Argentina, but as the success of this AI enhancement grows, we should expect it to be rolled out into the other regions as well. So all it basically does is it takes your individual buyer data, it takes the data of all the available products on the platform, and when you search, it gives you a result that is specific to your buyer behavior. Now, this increases the efficacy of the ads and should have a rollover impact in keeping your customers on the ecosystem, because whenever they search for something, they get exactly what they need. And on top of that, again, the tie-in of fintech on the end-to-end part of the value proposition for both the sellers and the buyers. Then you've got the MELI Plus membership as a lock into the system. So this does a couple of things, but some of the main ones is it offers you subsidized shipping, and for the most part in areas where the e-commerce penetration is quite low, any kind of increase in cost would cause the average consumer to really think twice about buying or not. That's why the MELI Plus membership is really important here, because it really does give a few benefits to the consumer, that it reduces the amount of friction between thinking about buying something and then going on to buy something because of some of the benefits. Like I said, some of the benefits are subsidized shipping, some of them are content bundling for watching the likes of the Netflixes and the Disney Pluses, and you've also got yields on your Mercado Pago wallets. So if you're part of the membership, you can get some better yields, which means, again, increasing the amount of friction so that you stay within the ecosystem itself, which is quite good for MercadoLibre. Then you've got expansion of first-party offerings. Now, this is not a main driver of growth, but it is important to mention because it shows us that MercadoLibre is currently prioritizing some of its key performance indicators, such as your gross merchandise values, your total payments volumes, by being able to extend its value proposition on the platform. Now, what offers first-party offering? All they basically are products that MercadoLibre manufactures and sells itself. So where they see that there is a possibility to increase the quality in terms of pricing competitiveness and quality of the actual products that they can sell to the direct consumer or the buyers in this instance, they produce those products. Now, it's a smaller piece of the pie. It's less than 10% typically, and at this stage, I think it's at about 6% of gross merchandise volume. So you can sort of see that it's in the smaller side of things, but it's less about the size in this instance and more about the intention of increasing your value proposition for the people within the MercadoLibre ecosystem. Then you've got the focus focus on rapid growth in your GMV and your TPVs over, along with the take rates, I mean. So your gross merchandise volumes is exactly what they are. It's just what are people buying and what is the value of the whole bulk, right? Same thing with your total payments volumes as well. The important bit here is actually in two parts. If you can stabilize and grow your take rates, which is basically the conversion of how much of that volume can we convert to direct revenue, and you focus as well on increasing the volume base, even any kind of incremental change in a take rate will have a material impact on your top line and trickle down into your bottom line as well. So the primary focus on this GMV and TPV is very important in the strategy for the near to long-term growth of MercadoLibre, because that's where they're seeing their growth coming from. GMV specifically for e-commerce, and then your total payments volumes specifically for your fintech. Now, the other point is fintech acceleration, right? Through the integrated platform, credit book growth, and neobank development. We have to look back in context to see that when the fintech idea came into fruition, it was less about becoming a neobank and more about making sure that the end-to-end needs of your buyer and your seller are actually met, right? From the idea of buying or selling to the delivery to the end consumer, right? One of the main growth drivers within the fintech space itself is credit, specifically your credit cards. And I'll talk a little bit there on what the growth drivers actually are, what the risks that come with it, as well as the mitigations that MercadoLibre has in place to kind of alleviate the tension around growing your fintech around your credit cards, as opposed to any kind of loans to your consumer. Then we also anticipate an uplift in valuation multiples in the future as the current investment bolsters its moat and its margins ahead. You have to take into consideration that we have been seeing kinks in your operating margins and a slight increase in your costs, but a stabilization in your unit economics, because this is part of the strategy to grow the company and grow your top line and your bottom line, which should have the uplift in valuation start to kick in as the company continues in this strategy. Then last but not least, it's multiple. So because the company is only getting into a good amount of profitability as of the recent years, the PE multiples have been distorted by quite a bit. But what we do expect is we expect them to contract and bottom out as the company grows into its valuations, with absolute levels kind of approaching the normalized levels of your mature peers, such as your Amazon, and we could probably throw in Walmart into there as well.